This edition of MacVoices is sponsored by Smile, the makers of PDF Pen, PDF Pen Pro, PDF Pen for iPhone, PDF Pen for iPad, PDF Pen Scan Plus for iPhone and iPad, Text Expander Touch, and Disk Label. Find out more about all their great products at smilesoftware.com. Hi, I'm Chuck Joyner. We are at the AltConference at WWDC. We're at the Alt Labs, actually, in Jillian's, talking to Ortwin of FutureTap about his apps and what he thought of all the WWDC announcements. Ortwin, it's great to see you. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
So let's take the high level first and get your impressions as a developer of WWDC. What hit you most? What do you think was the most important thing that you heard?
Oh, I mean, there's so many new stuff in iOS 8 actually, and of course OS 10 as well. I'm obviously more focused on iOS, but it's really amazing what they introduced this year. I think it's probably, I mean, of course, last year it was all about the new UI, and everyone was like completely surprised about the direction they were going. This time it's really about new features, about great new functionality. What I especially love is the new ways that apps can interoperate with the extension thing they introduced in iOS 8. So that's really a big win, and I think great for the platform.
Before we started, we were talking a little bit about the Mac version, Yosemite, and what some people were a little afraid might happen, and it didn't happen. If anything, it seems very refined. They've added some power to it, there's no question, but it's not an iOS, it's not an OS that is declining or anything. They clearly still want to make the best desktop OS they can possibly provide.
Absolutely. I mean, I was kind of, I don't know, concerned about the direction they might be going or so, with especially the UI or so. But what I saw, it was really, it's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, the UI changes, I love them. They're a good direction, I guess. And the continuity stuff, that you can basically pick up your phone calls and whatever your half-written emails from the Mac and go back and forth. That's just really, I think, something where Apple can absolutely have a competitive edge against everyone else. I mean, Google cannot really do this. This is really something where Apple has a big advantage, because they have both the Mac, the desktop and the mobile OS in their hands.
Yeah, somebody sat down and seemed to think about what could we do that would be powerful, what could we do that would be useful, that only we can do,
right?
And then without the ego that seems to imply. And this is it. I mean, this gives you a complete ecosystem that you can work with anywhere and shift between devices as the need arises.
Absolutely. So that's really something, I definitely look forward to play with that and to use it actually as a user. That's definitely a user-facing feature. Yeah. That's just awesome. Yeah.
So let's get down to your apps. What are your apps that are in the App Store now?
Sure. So we have currently two apps in the App Store. One is called Where2. Where2 is a points of interest finder. It's interesting. It was one of the first 500 apps on the App Store. Oh. So it's really has quite a long history. I acquired the app back then with my new company, and since then, of course, it has seen numerous revisions and numerous updates. Currently, we're working on the biggest update ever, Where2 7, which really has a completely overhauled UI, and I think users will love it. It's a great update.
Now, do you cover just a specific geographic area, or is this just
this is a worldwide points of interest finder? So it's localized into, I think, 14 different languages or so. Oh, wow. So it's really, you can always use basically your native language to see everything. But if you're in Turkey or so, and you don't know what a pharmacy in Turkish is, you search just for your pharmacy, and the app automatically translates it to the local language and searches for the Turkish equivalent, basically,
Okay.
right? So it's
So I'm embarrassed because I was going another direction. I thought we were talking about like landmarks or touristy things, but
that's everything. I mean,
Everything,
you can
okay.
search for national parks, you can search for post boxes, you can search for search for all kinds of businesses, restaurants, English, whatever, Chinese restaurants, sushi, you name
Wow.
it. So it's really a complete. Like we have over 700 categories covered
Wow.
in the app.
The obvious question: how much is that?
So it's $269 or $299 in dollars,
Okay.
$269 in euros.
Okay.
So yeah.
Any in-app purchases, or is that everything?
We do have an in-app purchase for augmented reality. That's another $1 basically, but so.
Okay, so
But you can try it out freely for 30 days. So it's
something fun to play with.
absolutely.
So that's one of two apps. You have a second one.
Exactly. So there's another app called Streets. It's basically a Street View client app for iOS, for iPhone and iPad. We definitely missed when Apple went from Google to their own maps, that Street View was missing from the Maps app. So what we did was basically more or less replicate that behavior and that feature basically. So you can place your pin on the map and go from there to the Street View basically, and you have the same like great animation and great UI basically as you've been used to with Maps on iOS 5.
That's phenomenal.
It's interesting. It also works together with Where To, so we can jump between the two apps back and forth because it totally makes sense. You're searching for whatever restaurant and you want to just look at the outside whether it looks like a good place or so to go, and sometimes you can even peek inside, like for places that have street view panoramas for inside. So it's quite nice.
And the pricing on that one?
That's $2, so
Okay.
$199.
So given those two apps, what will have the biggest effect on those two apps going forward? I mean, you're right. We had a lot of announcements and a lot of power delivered yesterday. How will they affect your apps specifically?
We are especially looking into those new extension technologies, so that basically apps can work together quite nicely. We currently already do stuff like that, but it's always a little bit hard to do that for developers if they have multiple apps working together or so. You basically are limited to like links. Like you have a link that launches one app, and that could be launch the other. Could be a callback URL basically, so you can launch the starting app again or so. It works. You can jump between apps or so, but of course that could be done better if there would be better technologies to integrate different apps together. So that's something we are definitely looking into, and then there are interesting new advancements in collocation for indoor positioning and stuff like that. That might be interesting as well, but we have to look at the details, of course.
And I realize that's a difficult question because we're only about 24 hours after the announcement, so there's still a lot of absorption, I think, for everyone to figure out what it means and what they can do with it.
Absolutely.
But I also know how it is. You're sitting there and right away you're jumping to things like, wow, I want to be able to do this, or I could do this, or this function could be added to my app. So
exactly.
Where do we go to learn more about your apps? What's the website?
Best go to FutureTap.com. So future and then TAP, like the finger tap.com, and there you find all the information about the apps.
Great. Artwin, thank you so much for stopping by. It's great to see you and learn a little more about what you do.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Folks, we'll have more from San Francisco and AltConference and WWDC. I'm Chuck Joyner. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for links, show notes, to subscribe, to connect with Chuck on Twitter, app.net, Google+, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter, the MacVoices Dispatch, to stay up to date with all the latest MacVoices news from our front page or at MacVoices.com/newsletter. Advertising and sponsorships handled by Backbeat Media at BackbeatMedia.com.